I can tell you for sure, one of the things that many of your prospects do not like is that dumb follow-up email in your campaign sequence that says, I'm bumping this up. Don't do that. Here's why and what to do instead. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another great episode of the Sales Evangelist Podcast. I'm your host, Donald C. Kelly, the Sales Evangelist. And I'm so excited for another great episode. I'm so excited to be here with you today. And on this episode, I'm going to dive into this idea of the follow-up email. Follow-ups are absolutely critical. And many of you are using tools such as Outreach, or you're probably using SalesLoft or maybe Apollo or any of these tools, Mixmax, that help you with sequencing your emails to your prospects, or HubSpot. The challenge that we find is that often the same emails are being recirculated. We go on the internet and we try to get something and we use it. And then we have these follow-up emails that are just like demeaning, that are dumb, and prospects are getting turned off by them because I sure don't read them. I delete them because I know what they're saying after a minute, getting a couple of them. So I'm going to give you some ideas of what you can switch and what you can say instead. That's going to help you to have more engaging conversation with more intellectual people that actually may be interested in purchasing from you. If this is your first time listening to our podcast or watching one of our videos, I encourage you to go ahead and subscribe. You're going to get content like this every single week, twice a week, Mondays and Fridays. Our content is built around two things. One, helping salespeople 3 to 5x their sales pipeline, and two, doubling their close rate. Every piece of content we share goes to one of those themes. And today we're going to focus on building pipeline, how you can get more engaging conversations. So let's go back and look. You're probably sending out these emails. You're getting the follow-up emails. You're getting you're trying to get replies. You're seeing people open your emails. But then when you get to that second one, you're trying to get them to, because the most part, people are not going to respond to that first email. You need to keep sending stuff to them. However, when you send that follow-up email, typically what I see is just following up. I mean, we can go back to past episodes and we'll link back to that one in this episode. So go in the show notes. We'll link back to the just following up episode that I did a while back. I dislike that phrase. It's so dumb. Like, of course, the prospects know that you're following up with them. Just following up just seems so lazy and seems so blah. The email itself is the follow up in a sense. Let's utilize more intellectual capabilities in what we're saying, in our messaging, in the content. So again, I'll give you some ideas. Number two, the one that this episode is all about that I don't like, and I feel that many prospects feel the same way, just bumping this up. And here's some of the reasons why. I mean, just bumping this up, it's kind of saying, well, I know you're not paying attention to this because you're doing some other things, but this is important. So I'm going to bump this up into your email. No. And then you're trying to take over my inbox, or you're trying to put stuff in you're trying to tell me to manage my inbox in a better way. You're putting your stuff as priority over the other things. That's just some of the idea there. And you're talking to people who are executives and people who have, way more important thing than to entertain a sales professional. And, just the fact that you're telling them, I'm going to, bump this up, or, I'm putting this as importance for you, and because you don't see it as importance yet. Again, I just don't feel that it rubs the right way. The number two thing is that it's just like everybody says it. So think about it from even if you don't do it because of this purpose, like the emails that your competitors or other sales professionals are saying the same exact thing. And it just looks so dumb. Like you're just another salesperson, and nobody wants to be just seen as just another salesperson. It's a silly way of selling. So we need to make sure that we're different. So what can you say? Here's a training that I want you to understand. Think about it from the prospect standpoint, not your standpoint of trying to book a demo or book an appointment. From their standpoint, their life is busy, their things are going crazy, and you probably, you probably have an idea of your ICP already. Well, let's milk that and let's utilize that. That first email, you're identifying a problem. So let's say that I'll give you one that we use. We were reaching out to these CMOs for our TSC Studios, the creative side of our organization. And we're reaching out to them talking about producing podcasts for their brands. So obviously one of the biggest challenges that they're facing, maybe it's not obviously, and that's one word they shouldn't say. The buyers don't really like to hear you say that over and over, like it's quite obvious. Well, maybe it's not obvious to them. So one of the things that these CMOs have challenges with is that they want to create content. They just don't have the time and the capability or the resources internally to be able to do so. So we addressed that in our first message to them. We talked about how we have some ideas that we want to share with them to help them. and then to help them with this, and we just want to get a yes or no. Is that something that's on your mind? So the email ties around that. The second email, instead of just saying just following up, it's tying back to that pain that they have. Knowing that you have this challenge of trying to create content, I want to share with you one of the ideas that I have. And then I did a video and I explained that idea in my follow-up email. I said nothing about following up. I used the same sequence. So it was a obviously. So again, that obviously this because you use a lot of sequencing. But let's say it's just a reply to that same thread, and then I have the video. I will say something like, Barbara, here's the idea, one of the ideas that I mentioned that can help you when it comes to creating content and what we have done for some of our other clients. Now, you might say, DK, I sell software and it's kind of difficult. Well, pull up the software and demo it. So your first email, perhaps you're sending like an HR solution to help them when it comes to managing their team members and time off requests and all of that jazz. And demonstrate that. Share the idea, the pain. What is the biggest pain that the HR director is having, or that the operation director is having, and how is this impacting their organization? Give them and see if that triggers them. If they triggers a response. Try to get the yes or no response. Is that something that you're open to? Is that something that you guys are looking at right now? Yes or no. Try to get that response from them. My second email will be like, David, here's the idea. I want to show you how we solve that problem for some of these other clients when it comes to the HR managing time off requests and saving 20 to 15%, 15 to 20% on on wasted time. Well, now I can demo that in a quick screen share on Loom or on BombBomb or Vidyard, and do that in like maybe 1 or 2 seconds, or 1 or 2 minutes. This allows the prospect to be able to feel in control. They're able to see you're saving them time rather than jumping on a full demo. And now once they get a chance to glimpse at that, they might say, okay, this makes sense. I'm going to go ahead and reply to this email, and we'll follow up for the next step. But you're not just saying just following up, or I'm going to bump this up in your inbox. It's just such a waste. It sounds so dumb and such a waste. Go ahead and show them and talk to them. One of the things that we like to do, and I'll tell you this one that worked for me with TSC, when and this was in one of my recent campaigns, I addressed one of the objections that they typically face. So let's say, for instance, it's timing. We don't have time for this or right now. So my second email, we talked about the problem and so forth. I might say, I know that this may be a difficult time to be able to do so. You don't have to make a decision right now, or we don't have to finalize a time right now. Let me know over the next several weeks what works best for you. Or we don't have to meet ASAP. That's what I said. We can finalize a time over the next several weeks. And then that I saw more responses from that. And I'll have to, if you message me on LinkedIn, I'll pull up the data from the campaign so I can send that over to you. But the point is that email was able to give more substance to what was sent in the first email. It added on to it. I addressed the objection that typically came. I might not say like the objection outright or repeat it like I'm parroting. Like I understand where you're coming from, and it may not necessarily have time. Just tell them, time. Obviously, a lot of people and a lot of CMOs or a lot of CROs right now, your plate's busy. You don't have to make a decision to meet with me today or in the next week or so. Here are some options. We can meet over the next several weeks. And it was something to that nature that I used, and it just made such a big difference. And I didn't have to say just following up. I followed up, but I didn't say just following up. I also didn't say bumping this up in your inbox, which is, again, I just really don't like that one. Then one of the triggers that we use when we're reaching out to a prospect, we like to find people who are posting regularly on LinkedIn in the past 30 days. So when we use Sales Navigator, we use the Spotlight feature. I highly recommend you check that out. And if you want to check out Sales Navigator, go ahead and use my promo code. It's linkedin.com/TSC. You get a 60-day trial as opposed to a 30-day trial, so you can test out the platform. But the thing that happens when you do that, the Spotlight feature, I can identify people who have been posting on a platform recently, and also people who have job changed. So then my follow-up email might use or apply to one of those triggers. So I might say, something to the nature of Mandy, obviously, again, I need to stop saying obviously. Mandy, knowing that you're starting off new in the role, here are some things that some of our other new CMOs had challenges with, and how we addressed it, and how we helped them when it came to creating content. So we, blah, 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 blah. But the point is, I gave them a little bit more education, or I gave a little bit more value rather than a lazy email just following up. Next one is the testimonial. I love this one. Use a testimonial that addresses a top of funnel pain. So, top of funnel objection. So, objection may be like, this may not necessarily work for us. So, I might say, Dave, I know you're probably busy, or I know you're up to your eyeballs in all different in emails or whatever problems they have in employee request, and this may not be a top priority. This is the same thing that one of our clients over at KPMG had a challenge with as well. Here's what she or he had to say about it. Whether it's the text, you input the text in that email, or you take a video snippet of that testimonial and put it into like a bomb and you embed that email. The point is, now you're given a testimonial to validate a point, a top of funnel challenge or objection, not necessarily just a random objection. I love this company. I love TSC. No, give them something that's good. But those are some things that I find that's helpful. And giving them some specific examples is the last one. So if there's something that they're facing, some kind of difficulty, the big pain in their organization, I talked about this one earlier, giving them some ideas, but go a little bit deeper in some of the ways some of the ways that you would help them. You start to give out some of the answers. Maybe this is not a full demo, but you give out some of the answers. When clients work with us, here's what typically happens: blah blah blah, blah blah blah, blah blah blah. And but if this is not something that's important to you right now, it's totally okay. You could just let me know and we can connect or table this until a later time. They're going to respond to you. You just want to respond. So whenever they respond, then you might say, yeah, Donald, it's not a big deal right now. Let's look back together in a quarter, next quarter. Now you have a time at least, but you're not sitting there just waiting and hoping. You're making a plan. The point is, there are better ways to follow up with your prospect in your second email rather than just following up, or I'm bumping this up in your inbox. These people you're dealing with are highly intelligent. They're executive for a reason. They have master's degrees. They have PhDs. They have they have MBAs. They're not just some person sitting down waiting for a sales rep to call them, and you need to act accordingly. You're not just a salesperson, you are a consultant. You have done this before with tons of other people. You help them solve problems, and no matter what product you sell, whether it's a water bottle or it's a complex HR solution for enterprise level organization, you need to think and behave and act like a consultant and recognize the capability in your role and treat your emails and your communication accordingly. Otherwise, they're going to treat you the way that you sound, and you don't want to sound just like a sales professional, just like an order taker. Jump up in your position. Let's go get some bigger deals. Let's earn the money you deserve. Let's help those clients. If you found this helpful today, go ahead on LinkedIn, connect with me, Donald C. Kelly. You can send you to connect, or you can follow and just drop me a message. Say, DK, love the episode. Just put bumping this up and let's talk about that. And if you want to get some of those numbers, I'll be more than willing to share that with you. Just go ahead and hit me up on LinkedIn. As always, I want you to thrive. I want you to succeed. We want to help you to 3 to 5x your pipeline. We want you to double your sales. We want to make sure that you're raising your level of thinking, going out and doing big things. Thanks so much for watching.